story time, and you got a story for me.
It is happy hour time. That's what time it is. And yes, welcome. Story time.
We should go over the
Yeah.
rules of
So
happy hour.
this hat, I almost said I don't remember.
Happy hours talk about
This
whatever we
hat, dude,
want.
this hat has traveled everywhere, which actually doesn't
Is
hail
it
in
faded?
comparison to one of my other hats. But
Is it
no,
faded?
no, it is not faded. It is a tan hat. But I got this hat. Um, it's an aviation hat from a museum I went to in Pearl Harbor, and thought it was a nice looking hat, right? So the chick I was with at the time bought it for me. And not long after, I went to Florida and I forgot it with my friend. And so it lived with my friend for years because he kept neglecting to mail it, but hung on to it. And I eventually forgot about it. And then one day I went and visited my friend again. Um, this guy I used to work with, I went to school with. And I was like, dude, do you still have my hat? And he was like, oh my gosh, bro, totally. And so eventually I got it back. So I've had this hat for like 6 or 7 years, but 2 or 3 of those years it was with him because I left it at his house one time and we had dinner, and eventually he finally gave it back to me. And it's just funny because it's the kind of thing you would have thought to lost, but no. And I really like this hat. It's one of my favorite hats. Not that I
I'll
wouldn't
say
give
your
it away.
favorite. And is it NC? Is that where he is?
No, he was in
Carolina?
Florida. He was in Florida. I mean, we met in North Carolina, but he moved to Florida with his family. We had dinner one time when I was visiting, and I just left it. And he was like, "Well, you left your hat." And I was like, "Oh, I'm leaving the state today." I was like, "Oh, mail it to me." And then he never mailed it to me. He was like, "Yeah, I'll mail it to you this week." And then he forgot again. And years later, I was like, "Dude, I'm in the area." And he's
Oh,
like, "Bro,
that's kind of
your
funny.
hat." And I was like, "Dude, let me have my hat back." um,
That's really
but yeah, I
funny.
was like, "Don't throw it away. I want it. I like this hat." Dude, Pearl Harbor was a blast, bro. My trip to Hawaii was a blast. I still think about it and think, damn, I need to do that again. It was awesome.
When you went to the museum?
The whole trip was awesome, but the museum was really cool.
Mhm.
I mean, just learning the history behind Pearl Harbor, learning how the Japanese came in and blew up the whole airfield so that they couldn't get planes off the ground to counter the attack. Um, all of it was really cool, and seeing some of the time accurate replicas and being like, wow, that's what they were working with. Like, that's crazy because that happened in 1942, I think, right? Pearl Harbor was December 27th of 1942, or I'm sorry, December 7th or 11th or something. And you're just like, wow, I can't believe how far we've progressed. Like, I can't even imagine trying to counterattack then versus now. And yeah,
Yeah, pretty crazy, huh? Dude,
yeah,
museums are awesome. Absolutely awesome. That will be such a a restful evening spent or afternoon spending a couple hours in a museum. But couple hours is my max. Once I get to couple hours, it's kind of
yeah. I
rest of
went
the
to an
drive.
art museum and I think we did 3 hours there. The girl I took, and I was like, it's time to go. I was like, I'm done.
Oh yeah.
It's like this is I'm done. I was like, we need to go.
That
There's,
happens.
I
That
like
happens
this,
to me
but I'm
too all the
done.
time. Yeah, no, I could stay there forever, but there's so much after a while you just mm,
I'm like, I don't want to
have
look
to
at
make
art
it.
anymore. I'm bored.
It's just better to make another visit or something.
Yes.
Like I've been to I told you I really like the JFK Museum, and I think I've been there 4 times in total. And yeah, I get something from it every time, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the benefit of doing things multiple times is every time you do it again, you're like, wow, I didn't know that about it. It's like I've worked on an engine every day for years. And it's like every time I do it, I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could do that with that screw. Like, silliest thing, but you learn something new.
Dude, that's the awesome part about doing things so many times. Like you think it's boring, but
Yeah.
like you just learn.
Until
I feel
until you
I
get
think that's just how my brain will work. I mean, I think it's probably other people's brains too work the same way, but it's like you don't do it the same every time. It's just impossible. Like you do it, like you just think of a different way of doing it, you know? And yeah, like, dude, just working, like work every single week, you know? It's like do the same things over and over again. And you just think of different ways. My brain's just like, how can I make this more exciting? How can I learn something here? But yeah,
Yeah,
dude, we got plenty to talk about
we do.
at the happy hour, dude. Happy hour, happy hour. Let's see. Do.
I need some more Hawaii in my life. It's so nice, so jungly. I love the jungle. Actually, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go back to Puerto Rico because I made the mistake of not figuring out how to get out to the jungle in Puerto Rico. And apparently, the mountain hike is a phenomenal. And then you can like basically water slide your whole way down the mountain, following the rivers and like jumping in the waterfalls. And I'm like, oh, that sounds so grounding. I can't even imagine how many poops I'd have to take. That's also an inside joke. But I'm like, oh, that sounds so nice. Just prancing around the forest,
To get back down, you
like
just
swimming your way down the mountain slowly, having fun, lounging in nice warm jungle water on a hot day, listening to the sounds of the jungle, looking at all the crazy plants. Like that sounds killer.
yeah,
And
that's
that was the cool
fun.
thing about Hawaii was it was like it was very jungly. And you were like, whoa, a bamboo forest? That's cool.
You get to encounter any wildlife?
In Hawaii,
Yeah.
oh, lots of mud.
Lots of
But
what?
again, the mud. Again, that was what made it so special was, I think it was like the first day there, I was like, no, I want to go hiking. We went to go hike to a waterfall and we got lost and we just hiked through muddy trails forever. And then it started raining and it got even worse. And we hiked back down and like there were mosquitoes. And so we just came back to the hotel covered in mosquito bites, covered in mud, wearing basically nothing because, it was hot. So like all I went in was shorts and flip flops thinking I was going to be in a waterfall. And we just came back looking homeless. And it didn't work out at all like planned,
Wait, you
but it
said
was
that
like
was the
that was
best part
it.
was the mud?
No, you said, did I see any wild animals? And I said, no, just mud.
Just
But it
mud.
was like in hindsight, it was awesome. It was miserable hiking through the mud, but coming back coated in mud was kind of funny.
Huh.
Like
That-
now I can look at it and laugh
mhm.
and be like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that just reminds me of the dirt. There's nothing like dirt. It's the strangest thing, but it's like,
Not mixed with water. I'll pass.
dude, still, it's like, no, no, something is
Do
so
you
refreshing.
do you remember? Oh man, didn't the Friary do something with mud wrestling or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't mud. I don't think it was specifically mud wrestling, but it was some kind of wrestling, and it was in mud.
Yeah. Yes. But it was fun. And I did a mud run once. I went to like this
Oh, have you?
country event, right? And they were like, "We're gonna do the mud run. Anybody wants to participate?" First one across the trench it was like a big, deep, rutted out trench that trucks had driven through. It was just full of water and mud. It was disgusting. And on the other end, they were like, first one to the end gets like $300 cash, right? And I literally came like 5 feet from winning, and I stepped on a mud thing, and the guy who'd already fallen and was way behind me had his chance to catch up when I fell. And I tell you, I was feet from getting to the bucket. But yeah, my buddy and I did that. He was like, dude, let's do that. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And it was a blast. And then of course, the other cool thing about country is uh, the bikini mud wrestling. It's exciting. Nothing quite like it. I'm not sure why that's thrilling to some people, but I just remember off-roading and that we were off-roading and some other people were like smoking weed and their girls were in bikinis and they're like, oh, let's wrestle. And I was like, this is funny. This is funny. I mean, we were by a river, so it's not like you couldn't wash it off, but it was like, I don't know what the thrill about being a woman wrestling in mud with another woman is. I guess it's just you feel country. Obviously, the guys think that's hot, but I was like,
I do. I mean, I would wrestle in the mud. I mean, it just sounds fun. It sounds like you, so
Yeah,
you,
I feel like girls think that's tough,
uh-huh.
and guys just find it hot. So
Spectating, right? Talk about spectating this guys.
yeah, no, yeah, guys find it hot watching a chick in a bikini wrestle in the mud because like that's a thing at like country events,
Oh,
and
really?
so yeah, yeah, like real redneck shit. Um, but I mean, we were just off roading with a bunch of other people, and two of them happened to have girlfriends, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll wrestle in the mud," and I was like, "All right." Like I know girls who do that
Do they
too, and
want
I
to get
think it's
dirty?
just they think it's fun, and so they want to participate. You know, you can do anything but bore a woman,
Mhm.
and women
I
just
do.
want to have
I
fun.
find that
So if
relatable.
you can
I'd
convince
wrestle in the
them,
mud. I think that's
huh?
funny. Like I'd wrestle in the mud. It's like
Yeah, but for you, you're gonna want to win.
like
You
keeping
know,
your
you're gonna
balance.
want to win.
Say
I
again?
think for you, you're gonna want to win. You know, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna be like, I gotta beat this guy, right? But as a chick, I think you're just like,
They just want to roll around.
everybody thinks this is entertaining. They're all looking at me. I don't, maybe not, but anyway, it's a thing. That's all I'm saying. And
Gotcha.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
mud runs, mud wrestling,
A lot of things. There's a lot
mud
of things.
bogging, mud wheeling.
Dude, there's a lot of, speaking of things, there's a lot of things that I noticed that people will do that I would never question doing. And I was just walking through the casino
You
today.
mean never question doing?
Well, like for example, like gambling, um, especially with me with gambling, it's like it's just I'm I don't know, I'm just not a big fan, like at all. And I just wonder how so many people find it entertaining, especially like the games. You know what I'm saying? Like the when you're sitting in front of a whole, I don't know, it's like an arcade,
A
you know?
TV screen.
And I'm like, how do people actually
I don't know. It's like,
that
but
many
that's
people
like
go?
anything, you know. It's like I don't really see why people feel they need to drink that much because, like, I just don't care.
Yeah, that too, exactly that too.
But it's like everybody has some people, like or I think that about video games even more so than drinking. But like some people are just, they're like, why do people bother reading? That sounds so boring, you know. So it's like everybody just sees stuff differently.
Yeah. No, I get it though. Everybody's got this
Brainwashing is what this book would call it.
brainwashing.
Brainwashing. That, you know, they're brainwashed to think they're having fun doing something, to think that there's a reason they're doing it, but really they're just addicted to it, or people
They're
just
applying
convince
fake
them that
meaning
it was
to it too.
worth it.
No.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's like they were brainwashed into thinking that they should gamble, they should drink, they should play video games, they should read a book, anything, whether it's good or bad. Like someone somehow convinced you, or you let yourself be convinced that this is worth your time. And
Right.
even when you know it's not worth your time, you keep doing it because you've been brainwashed
Brainwashed from
just by society. Like
no, from
this is
reality.
worth
No.
doing.
I'm saying like the brainwashing is the is what makes sense basically. Like s- so you don't see it how it really is.
Right, right. Exactly. You're not actually looking at the reality of the situation.
Yeah. Well, interesting. Interesting. Or you just have a preference for other things, you know? You just enjoy things that I don't, which is fine. Fine by me, you know?
Is that a microphone?
Yeah, that is a microphone. It's always been there.
Looks like the size of your head, bro. And you're in such a
It's
dark room
closer,
all the
that's
time
why.
that I can't see it. I know it's closer. I get it.
I
I
know
do
it's because yeah, I
film,
know. Yeah.
but it's so
It's,
dark in your room that it looks
yeah.
like it doesn't exist. I
We
like this effect. I think this looks good. This isn't even plugged in. No, I'm just kidding. It is, but I like how it looks. This is a cool microphone.
we have mics that aren't plugged in. Yeah, I just remember an old video with the headphones. That was so funny. That was so funny. And that they
Oh,
were
the
on purpose. Yeah. You remember when
yeah,
we did that?
that was a fun. Yeah,
That was
yeah,
hilarious.
but that looks too businessy, too
I
silly.
know, but which made it fun. That was the whole, I think that was the whole point. It was just stupid and they
Yeah,
weren't actually working. But
we gotta get a. Oh my God. Speaking of stupid, dude, always stupid, bro.
yeah.
My new look, dude.
Well, no,
I just got a nose lift.
yeah, dude.
Hmm. A lot
Anyways,
of good things with this on
something I
my
want to
face.
talk about is complaining. Or it's probably like 2 years
Both
ago, I was
complaining.
I was just noticing how like everybody I worked with would just complain endlessly. Like
My nose
it
looks
was,
smaller when I wear
they
this.
were never they were never happy, you know, never. And I told you this too. Like if we if we were sent to do a job, or they gave us a call, like we got a call, we were busy, they would complain that we were busy. If we had nothing to do, they would complain that we had nothing to do. Nobody was ever happy. And so I was like, what? This doesn't make sense at all. And I was just, I was just realizing like
Brainwashing.
some people just, I guess, enjoy complaining. And I was thinking about it a lot, and I was like, I think this is how people connect with each other. Like they just like that's what they can relate to is just their complaints. And so I was like,
Well, it's like any
you
toxic habit, it's like
want to
eating.
talk, yeah.
You think, oh, there's nothing wrong with having a cupcake. Next thing you know, you're having a cupcake. Like I think of dessert, right? This is such a funny one. Like, yeah, as a kid, I loved sugar. Of course, I mean, as an adult, I love sugar too. But like, um, it's like my family normalized having dessert after dinner, right? Now, of course, I don't have dessert after dinner, but I'm like, why? There was nothing good in that. I know they
No,
were.
now
I
you
know
have
they were
dessert
being.
before dinner.
They were being good parents, like giving me sugar at a allotted time of the day and making sure it wasn't too much. But it's like, why do you need dessert at all? It's like you have these habits that you don't even realize they've formed and they're not good for you. And complaining is definitely one of them. Like, it takes a lot of consciousness initially to be like, wow, I'm complaining, they're complaining, we're complaining. We don't need to be doing this. Like, we can
Yeah.
just shut up and do the job.
Yeah, it takes some consciousness to be like, what am I actually doing here? What am I actually accomplishing by complaining? Plan instead. It's my solution. Plan instead.
Plan
Planning's
instead.
good if it's plan based. If it's I don't like this way and I'm gonna do it a different way. I'm gonna change this.
Right. It has to be
Most complaining,
proactive.
most complaining takes no ownership. That's what I noticed. No ownership at all. Completely somebody else's fault.
I think if you're doing that, if you're actually taking ownership, it actually can be good to kind of like vent about it, as long as you're like you're saying, taking ownership, making a plan, intending to correct it. In that case, I think it's actually okay to complain a little bit and to be like, man, this thing's going wrong in my life. So I've decided I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to approach it. But man, let me tell you, this really pissed me off in this way. Like, I think that's fine. Because, like, I think there are people who think you shouldn't complain at all. And, like, I
Well,
think
yeah,
it can be.
well, I mean, I guess so. Because obviously you're gonna be in situations where you you just don't like the situation. You prefer it, and complain it's nice to still share your experiences with other people without being like, oh, this is really a big deal. It's like, yeah, this is what I'm going through. This is the experience. Let me share. That's it. There's
Right.
no, I mean, that's the cool part too. There's no, you can talk to people, um,
I think it allows you to process things if
without
you're
having
doing
to
it
be like,
right.
oh, this is the solution, instead, I mean, that's the thing about relationships that I guess I didn't really understand before was like, you can, you could talk for the sake of like just sharing your experiences, talking. It's not always purpose driven.
Well, I think that's the benefit of complaining is it actually allows you to process things. If you haven't figured out how to process things without complaining,
Spit
you can
out
be like,
what's in here.
huh?
You spit out what's in here. And
Right, exactly. You can be like, my roommate really pisses me off because of this. This is what they do. And then you can kind of walk yourself into saying, here's how I'm going to approach it. Here's where I'm wrong because it's upsetting me, yada, yada, yada. But the process of verbalizing it, usually in the form of complaining, unfortunately, actually helps you approach it if you decide to be proactive about it. Dog hair, dude. I got dog hair.
productivity. Yeah, this brings me on to something else.
Yeah, why you need a dog.
Speaking of work all the time,
That's
I,
important.
I all the time, I will just wonder what people do for work. Like I will wonder not people's job titles,
You sound
but
like all the girls I take out.
how they spend their days. And Because I'm like, what's really productive? You know, is HR really productive? What are they actually doing that whole time? Spending 40 hours a week doing? Really 40 hours a week handling complaints? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, you know? I don't,
That's a funny
how
thought.
productive are some of these positions? I feel like we lost a lot of productivity. Like,
Well, I feel like that's related to your brain. It's like your mind processes how many, you know, tens of thousands of subconscious thoughts. But the good thing is because it's processing so many subconscious thoughts, occasionally it hits a couple of key conscious thoughts, and it's like the same thing applies to a lot of situations. It's like, who the heck is quality assurance? Why do we need quality assurance, right? It's because quality assurance double checks everybody else's work. Most of the time, it doesn't need to be double checked, but 5% of the time, they catch something big that otherwise would have killed people. And so the same thing for HR. It's like most of the time, 40 hours a week, 38 of those hours are spent, you know, over remedial, like, what's the word? There's a meager, I guess that's not the right word, but small complaints. But 2% turn out to be sexual harassment that prevent someone from doing something really inappropriate in the workplace, and that justifies
mhm.
the rest of it.
Yeah, I
And
guess
so,
there's reasons they all started, but it's like
yes,
all these different systems. But
dude, I'm going into HR, so you got to stop ripping on it. I'm going to be the next HR for
I'm gonna
every
be
major
ripping you,
company
dude.
out there.
Yes, I am, dude. Because I don't know, dude. You like what the heck?
There's nobody, no better place
Actually doing?
to bring your HR complaints than me because I make a lot of money doing it. No, I'm just kidding.
But still, I think there's other positions too. And I just see this,
Oh,
dude.
of course there are. Yeah,
It's
like I said,
working where I'm like,
quality
all right,
assurance.
so like, do people actually care? Except for the boss, right? The boss obviously cares about um like productivity, how much the company's making, efficiency, stuff like that. Um,
That's not even true.
but like supervisors,
Sometimes the bosses don't care. Sometimes the supervisors don't care.
where
I think of
I think if you get
watched
to a
some of
certain level,
those,
yeah,
huh?
a certain level of abundance where it doesn't actually matter your head where you're
No,
like
that's not even what I'm talking about. There are
no, but
some people who just
it
start companies
unless your
because
company's going to
they
crash
want
or
to.
fall apart, because that's what it matters. If it's already thriving and doing well,
Even then, it doesn't matter. There's
oh no,
still
why not?
bosses.
Because your company's going to die because you have to bring in income, and if you're not
Well,
bringing
good thing it makes sense to you, but look how many people
it's a
don't do
waste.
that. Look, I think of all the times I watched.
Talking about bosses, like people owners.
I know you're talking about bosses. If you let me finish, you'll hear the full thought.
All right, go for it. You
I think of watching Hell's Kitchen or Kitchen Nightmares or whatever it was, right? And the number of people who opened restaurants just because they wanted to own a restaurant and they were the boss and the manager and in charge of all this stuff and the absolute top person spending all the money, and they were burning themselves alive, all because they knew nothing about what they were doing. They just started it because of a place of ego, because of their love for singing, so they wanted to have a restaurant they could sing at, because their mother was a great cook and they wanted to have a restaurant named after her. Silly things like that, where they're still the boss, but their company is burning around them because they don't know how to do their job.
they're a
And so they
temporary
care,
boss.
they want the company to exist, but they don't know how to actually change their own ways to allow the company to exist in a
Yeah,
even semi-productive
sure,
manner.
they're a boss, but they're a temporary boss because they're not going to survive.
Well, some of them should make the change necessary, but
Yeah, and that'd be great. That's great. It's awesome. Fantastic.
I'm
But
just saying that's very possible too. There's plenty of bosses who you're like, you shouldn't own a company. Like, go back to working for someone else, close the doors. Like, you're a good whatever, like, but you're not a good this. Like, this isn't cut out for you. Like, let go,
well,
let someone else buy it, close it down and go do something else. Your job as a boss is essentially inefficient and unnecessary. But that being said, I've never been a boss other than going through life like a boss. So
yeah, dude, you gotta boss yourself, dude.
boss it up, dude, like a boss.
Lead yourself. That's it. Yeah, everybody's a boss, right? Everybody's
if they take responsibility.
got to boss their life.
Dude, this is too serious of a subject for the happy hour. We're supposed to be talking about happy things,
Ah.
like puppies and rainbows. And
Hey, let's talk about puppies, dude. Um, the one thing I hate
oh my god,
is small dogs. Small dogs, can't stand them. Can't stand
you follow the word happy with I hate. Yeah, everybody hates small dogs. Dude, small dogs are dumb. You got to get a medium dog or a huge dog. No, I actually don't like huge dogs. Too big. Can't bring a huge dog anywhere.
Yeah, I think of Great Danes. Those are pretty big. So yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't think they're very agile, you know?
Dude,
It's like a tall person, you know? You're like,
I knew this guy who had a Great Dane. I think it was a Great Dane.
not always the
It was literally the size of a cow. Like its cage took up half the living room wall. We only have 9 minutes left. Whoops, darn it. And oh fuck,
dude, that's a big Great Dane.
dude, that's what it was. A
Great.
big, big dog. Like when the dog jumped, it was taller than me,
Yeah,
and I was like, dude, it's a beautiful dog. It is very well mannered, but just too big.
it's big.
It's like
Yeah.
it weighed 130 pounds or something crazy. Like, you can't even walk the poor thing. You got to put it in a fenced in area with cows and horses.
Oh man. Yeah, I wonder how agile they are.
Dogs are great. Everybody needs dogs, dude. And I need to dust my computer monitor, apparently.
Dogs, dude,
Oh, really agile. Dude, dogs are insanely agile. Have you ever watched my dog run? Oh my gosh. Her rear feet, all her propulsion through her rear feet, and she almost doesn't even touch the ground. It's crazy. And then she'll like
That's
wipe
her.
out and be back.
I know dogs are agile, especially smaller dogs, but like, um, it's just like really tall people, really tall, guys I'm playing sports with or whatever. Like they're usually not very quick
Yeah, but
because
look at basketball players. Super tall, very agile
I'm
and
talking,
fast.
yeah, sometimes they can be, but like some are ridiculously tall and they like they're they're just handling these long limbs.
Yeah, I know.
They
That's
just
why I'm
move
glad I'm not
awkwardly
some lanky
because
plank.
dude, you're just lanky. Exactly. So I'm just I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen a Great Dane really run. So who knows? It's just a question I have. It's just a curiosity.
Yeah, but look at giraffes. Giraffes get around. They don't do it awkwardly.
Are you gonna say Jurassic Park? Like talking about dinosaurs, huh?
I wish I would talk about dinosaurs. I'm gonna open up a dinosaur theme park with real dinosaurs. It's gonna be dogs dressed as dinosaurs.
Good one. Yeah, just put
All right,
the costume
that's enough happy hour for one night. That's been 30 something minutes, and I need to get a drink. No, I'm just kidding.
after that.
Yes, after opening a dinosaur theme park, oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Anything dinosaurs does seem to attract people immensely, though. So people love dinosaurs.
Do people do? They're cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ah,
Even
yeah.
though we've been inaccurate about how we depict them for like the entire time we've realized they exist.
Also, what do you mean we've been inaccurate depicting them?
Well, they were like, turns out a lot of them were like feathered. They weren't so scaly and reptilian. They were more, you know, like bird-like in a lot of ways. So,
Right, right. Well, it's hard to.
or they were woolly or furry instead of scaly. We thought they were just these giant skinned, scaled, naked animals, and really they were like feathery and furry like everything
Well,
else
it's
in them.
pretty impressive to even find that information. Like that's pretty awesome. Digging up remains.
Yeah, but I'm just saying we've been thrilled over something that we completely
That we
misdepicted.
kind of imagine the rest.
Yeah.
It's like you know, look at all we think we know and all they said. Like you said, we thought they were scaly and stuff like that. It's like we just saw someone just. Probably assumed they would.
Right.
But like, dude, the dinosaurs are, I mean, imagine,
Well,
awesome, giant animals, pretty freaking cool. But yeah, dude, like you said, let's wrap it up and
and because you like happy hour, you're gonna subscribe.
finish this happy hour. Being happy.
Peace.